Everybody. Thank you for joining us today, tuning in for this session. So we at Crosby Scholars host a monthly parent webinar on a variety of topics. And today's topic is for our middle school parents. So we're going to be talking about preparing your middle schooler for college and careers. So welcome again on the call today. My name is Zoe Harding, and I am the middle school program coordinator for Crosby Scholars. And I will hand it over to Suzanne to introduce herself and get us started.
Yeah, and I'm Suzanne Wegmiller. I'm the executive director of the program. We're both glad to be here with you today. Thanks for joining us. And so one of the questions, I've been with Crosby Scholars now for over 9 years since we started here. We get this question really often. And it's, why would I want to start in 6th grade? It seems so early. It's so long until I'm going to graduate. But really, it is a great time to start because there are so many options to learn about and so many things to explore that middle school is a perfect time to start thinking about that. And we want students to be able to learn about a variety of things. And if they can start thinking about that in middle school, then when they get to high school, they have more time to hone in and get more specific about the things that they really might be interested in doing. So part of what you can do as a parent with this, and this is hard, I went through this with my own 2 daughters, is, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I'm good at. And kids have a really hard time, and really all of us sometimes have a hard time seeing what we do that we're good at, that we think, everybody else does this just as well as I do. And that's not true. So look for what your kids do. Do they have a special talent in art? Are they good with athletics? Are they good with sports? Is math a strength? So just, you'll notice it as you go through. You might have noticed it since they were a toddler, things that they just really, that come easy to them, that they really enjoy doing. And those are some of the things that will be a good clue to what might be a career that will be a good fit for them and something that they'll enjoy. And a lot of times, like I said, kids will say, well, everybody draws as good as I do, or everybody can sing like this. And, as adults, we can probably recognize that that may not be true. And so it's important for us to help them see where they do shine and what the talents they have, and also help them explore areas that they might not have tried yet, too, because they're still really young and it's not too late to try a new thing if they haven't had the opportunity to do it yet. So, just because they've only ever played soccer or t-ball or whatever, doesn't mean that trying dancing would be out of the question. So it's a great time to explore and get involved in whatever things they might have any interest in. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to mention, Crosby has U Science available, which is a tool that can help kids look at things that are interesting to them and where they might have an aptitude. We have a middle school version, and then we have a high school version as well, and they're a little different in what they look at. But this is a resource that we buy each year, and you're welcome to ask about this if you're interested in having your child take advantage of it. It's an online tool that can be done at home on a computer. So be sure and, ask Zoe if you're interested in having your child participate and use that tool. So how you can help your student. Have them look about researching different careers. There's all kinds of online sites, and I think when we get to the end of this presentation, we'll mention some of those, but have them read about new careers. There are job titles every single day that I've seen that weren't existing when I was looking for careers, and may not have even been in existence last year. So they're constantly changing titles and scopes of things that people do as technology changes and the work world changes. There's always something new coming along. Ask adults about their jobs. Ask your neighbors, your uncles, aunts, people that they come into contact with. Ask them, what do they like about their job? What do they do on a daily basis? Because I have to tell you, I had a brother that worked in computer science. I honestly hardly ever knew exactly what he did. I knew he had the degree, I knew he worked kind of in computers, but not exactly what he did on a day-to-day basis. So, people love to talk about what they do, and it's not hard to get somebody to open up and tell, oh, this is what I really like about my job, but the paperwork that goes with it is not my favorite thing. People don't often tell you, I don't want to talk about it. Also, get some firsthand experience, try some activities. One of the things that we encourage in Crosby Scholars is community service. And we often tell kids that, pick something that you think you're interested in, like animals. If you want to maybe be a vet or think you might be, see if you can find some community service that has to do with animals. Try it out, because maybe you'll love it. And maybe you'll find out that it wasn't really what you thought it was going to be. So you can kind of cross that off of your list. So as many times as you can get, actually doing something, that gives you a chance to try out a career or meet people that you can ask questions. So, oftentimes you think when you're in middle school, you're too young. And you do usually have to have a parent go with you to some of these things. But if you can, give your students the chance to do as much of this as possible, because it's invaluable for them to get out there and get their hands on things and to actually experience it for themselves. Now I'll turn it over to Zoe for this next section.
Yeah, so now that we've talked about, a couple of pointers on how you as the parent can start to get your child exploring and thinking about their options, we're also going to talk a little bit about all of the educational options that are available to your child in the future, so that you can start to talk about those things with your child and think about what might be a good fit for them. And kind of, depending on what career they want to pursue, make sure that you and your child understand what educational pathway might be required for that career. So we'll talk briefly about CTE certifications, career or trade school, military, apprenticeship, 2-year college, and 4-year college. All of these are options that your child might want to consider for once they graduate high school. And so knowing about your options and knowing the ins and outs of each of them can help set them up for success. And so if you attend an Iredell Statesville school, you might have heard before at school, choosing your E, which is something that they are starting, the way that the Iredell Statesville schools are starting to frame this sort of pathway discussion. And so thinking about whether your child wants to enroll in a post-secondary education program, go straight into the workforce, which is employment, enlistment in the military, or entrepreneurship, starting their own business. And so figuring out their pathway, that goes right along with understanding what your options are. So the first thing on our list here is CTE certifications. So at our schools, there are a lot of opportunities to get that hands-on experience during high school. And so knowing at the middle school level that is going to be available in a few years, and figuring out whether that's something or a pathway that your child will want to be on in high school is really important. And so the CTE classes are, again, very hands-on opportunities to learn and explore careers. And then there are also opportunities to earn an industry certification or a credential while your child is in high school. So before they even graduate high school, getting that certification so that they are ready for a career when they graduate. So just a shout out to CATS, the Career Academy and Technical School that is part of the ISS district. They offer many CTE pathways and very hands-on courses. So you can see just some examples of what they offer here at the bottom of my slide. So automotive, culinary, firefighting, EMT, manicuring like nails, nursing fundamentals. They have film, like video production, welding, and more. So there's lots of opportunities to take a CTE class in high school and get maybe even a credential in any of these areas.
I just want to throw in there too that Mooresville Graded also has CTE courses offered at the campus on McClelland Avenue. So they also offer a lot of those same classes if you're in that district.
Awesome. So the next option that we're going to discuss is going to a career or a trade school. So these programs tend to be shorter term most of the time than like what you would think of as a traditional college degree. In a variety of career fields, they're hands-on, and they can range from a few weeks to 2 years, depending on the area or the career that you're exploring. So this is a good option for our students who are more hands-on in their learning, and they really want to kind of dig in right after high school graduation and kind of get started on the feel of a career or like a specialized trade. The next category is apprenticeships. And so an apprenticeship, the idea is that you are learning your skills for your career while you are working. So they're often combining some sort of classroom instruction with on-the-job training where you are hired and working. So there are lots of local businesses who have apprenticeship programs, and some of them offer apprenticeships in partnership with Mitchell. So that would be like taking classes at Mitchell, working on your training at Mitchell, while you also have the job for that company and are working at that site and starting to actually, get a feel for the career. So especially, in Iredell County, there are a lot of apprenticeships in like healthcare careers, welding, manufacturing, automotive, just as some examples of what you can find an apprenticeship in. And then there's also the super cool pre-apprenticeship program in high school. And so pre-apprenticeships are on-the-job learning where you are getting a feel for that career and exploring a career option. And actually working while you're also earning high school credit for that. So the pre-apprenticeships are super cool. And, as your middle schooler is thinking about what they want to do with their career, if there's something they want to try out, maybe a pre-apprenticeship will be the right fit for them when they're in high school. Pre-apprenticeships are also a great opportunity to, get your foot in the door young, before you even graduate high school, getting to know that employer and, maybe if you do a great job at your pre-apprenticeship, they might want to keep you on as an adult apprentice and put you kind of on their pathway to work there as your career. So it's a super great opportunity to know about as you're thinking about what you are going to do in high school. And then finally, we want to talk about 2-year college and 4-year college. So 2-year college would be in 2 years, you're typically earning an associate's degree. And a lot of 2-year colleges are usually community colleges. So when you're thinking about in Iredell County, our local community college is Mitchell Community College, and they have a campus in Mooresville and in Statesville. And so that is kind of a 2-year college program. And 2-year college is an affordable opportunity to get a college degree. A lot of the 2-year college programs are kind of career oriented. So like at Mitchell, there's some medical, like medical assistance. There is paramedic programs. So there's, and other, not just medical. There's plenty of different careers, but a lot of programs that are kind of career focused. So when you're thinking about like kind of like trade school where getting in the pathway for a specific career, 2-year college can kind of overlap with that sometimes. But also 2-year college you can kind of be on a 4-year college track, but do your first 2 years, like at Mitchell, for example. So you can earn class credits, college credits, and then transfer those credits to a 4-year college after your time at Mitchell. So it's a great affordable option. And there are also lots of opportunities to earn college credits from Mitchell while you are still in high school. So a couple of those ways that you can do that. We have the early colleges in Iredell Statesville school system. So that is CCTDL, Crossroads, and ASEC. So those early colleges are like specialized high schools where you earn your high school degree and a college degree in your time attending that school. So that is a really great opportunity to get that college degree, and for free. Your tuition is paid for in those early college programs. So it is awesome. And for early college, if you're interested in that, that application happens during your 8th grade year, is when you can apply for those. So keep an eye out for that. And, you know, if your middle schooler is interested in going on that early college path and earning that 2-year college degree while they're in high school, that might be a good option for you. And when we get closer to that application timeline, definitely look out for like an information session to learn even more about the early colleges and their offerings. Also, you don't have to go to an early college to earn college credits while you are in high school. There's also the Career and College Promise program, which is kind of like a dual enrollment type of situation where your student is a high schooler at whatever high school it is that they go to, but then they can also enroll in Mitchell Community College classes and earn those college credits while they are still in high school. And Suzanne, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe for those classes, tuition is also covered. You don't have to pay for tuition.
Correct. You usually do have to pay for the textbooks and fees, where in early college, all of that is covered.
Awesome.
It's still a really good deal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Again, a great way to get those credits under your belt while you are still in high school, and set you up for success after graduation. And then also a lot of students like to take summer classes at Mitchell while they're in high school. And so, you know, we at Crosby, we really encourage our students to take advantage of their summers. And so in middle school, that might look like volunteering or, you know, exploring your interests, whether that's sports camp or arts camp or whatever it is. But we want our students getting involved in the summer and doing stuff to, you know, better themselves. And so a lot of high schoolers often opt to take a summer class at Mitchell to, again, get those college credits while they're still in high school. And then finally, 4-year college is an option to consider with your student. And so 4-year college might be kind of what we think of as the typical like college experience, but we at Crosby want to remind you that there's lots of different ways to have that post-secondary experience. It doesn't have to be that classic 4-year degree, but it is a great option to consider as you are figuring out your students' strengths and what career they want to, you know, explore someday. And so at a 4-year, in a 4-year timeline, that is typically going to be the bachelor's degree. And there's a wide range of career options with the bachelor's degree, and many types of jobs require a 4-year degree. And so once your student starts to narrow down what career they want to take, it's important to know what education level is required for that, because a lot of careers do ask you to have a 4-year degree. And when it comes to 4-year colleges, there is a huge array and variety in the size of the school, the cost of your education, and your majors that you can study. So depending on, you know, again, your students' interests and their circumstances, we want to help you find the right fit for your student, because not every school is going to be the perfect fit for every student. There's a lot of different different, variables to consider when it comes to a 4-year degree. But it's a great option and something to consider. And now I'm going to hand it back over to Suzanne to talk a little bit more about the pathway to college and just some things to know early on so that you can set your student up for success.
Yeah, one of the things in middle school that we emphasize is that, every middle school student should consider themselves a potential college student. There is a place for everybody if that's the path that they want to go down. So it's not, no student should be thinking that I can't go to college, I'm too dumb to go to college, I can't afford to go to college. That should never be in someone's mind in middle school. And so we definitely want students to know that if that's something that they want to pursue, there's a way to do it. And so, learning the study habits and learning good, being good at attendance, having a positive attitude, a growth mindset, those are all things that they can work on in middle school that will set them up for success in high school and beyond. So that's part of what our goal is for middle schoolers, is to help them establish those habits and those thought patterns that will make them feel like they can do it, because you got to have that belief, and you've got to be able to see yourself as a college student or as somebody who has possibilities beyond high school. And that's part of what we want to do in Crosby Scholars. So, as I just said, developing good study skills, having a place at home for them to be able to study that's away from other distractions. This can be a variety of places depending on how your home is set up, but it really, sets the tone that it's important to do your schoolwork. So if we have to shut the TV off for a half an hour or an hour or two so you can do your homework, then that's a sacrifice that we'll have to make as a family. Or, if we need to use a part of the house that normally isn't a place that the kids go, but it's for study, then, but it's something that needs to be shown that it's important by placing a priority on it to make that space and that time available to the students so that they have the opportunity to complete their homework, to study for tests and that sort of thing. And encourage them, remind them that they have abilities and they have skills and they can succeed, and that you can see them as a successful person after high school. So, they need that encouragement and that build up and the reminders that they are somebody who can be successful and that they've got talents and abilities that will lead them to a successful future. And if you have the chance to go to a college campus, take advantage of it. If it could be, if you're going to a football game or a basketball game, or if you just happen to be driving to a college town and you've got a few minutes to spare, drive through the campus, or go on campus and park in a place that you won't get ticketed. Weekends are usually kind of safe for that. And take a walk around, because research has shown that getting kids on a college campus is one of the most powerful tools to help them see that they can be a college student. A lot of adults will say, that was one of the most impactful things in terms of them actually going to college, was the fact that they were able to visit a campus. So, if you have opportunities to do that, and we do give college tours at Crosby for middle schoolers and high schoolers. So that's something else to watch for, is, when we advertise those tours, get your students signed up. And there's sometimes opportunities for parents to go as well. But, show them what it's like on a college campus. That's one reason we have our in-person academies on Mitchell's campuses, is so that they can see what a college campus looks like. It's not really, the classrooms don't look a whole bunch different than a regular classroom at their high school or middle school. But there are differences. And so we do want them to feel that it's kind of cool to be on a college campus. And like Zoe's got the reminder there, we do have a college tour coming up. Zoe, remind me where it's going this summer.
Yeah, so we're taking our middle schoolers to Lenore-Rhine University, and then we're also going to visit the North Carolina School of Science and Math, which is a little bit different. That is more a specialized high school program, but again, both of those are beautiful campuses, and we're excited to take students just to get a feel for what it's like, and going in a group of other middle schoolers. It's going to be super fun, and we do still have space left on this summer's tour. So if you are watching this in real time and you want to get your students signed up, check your emails. I've definitely sent out some emails about it, but get your students signed up because it's going to be a great experience.
Yeah, and one of the things we always try to do is have a dining hall experience on those tours. Kids love that because they see the cafeteria, or I don't even know if you can call it a cafeteria anymore, more like a mini food court in most of these places, and their eyes get big. They see the cereal bars and the ice cream stations and the pizza part. It's way different. If you were a college student back in my days, it's a whole lot different than it used to be. So they usually really like that part of it, and it does give them a feel for being on a campus. And hey, and usually there are college students eating at that same time, so they get to see what those kids look like and how they're acting and what how they just be hanging with the big kids. So it's usually a fun experience. Okay, you want to go on to the next one? So college recommended courses, and this is something that your school counselor will work with you on to get these courses in. One of the main differences between high school graduation requirements and what is required to the UNC system is the language. So if your student wants to go to college, that taking the foreign language or a second language is what they should do. That's different from the normal graduation requirements. Most of these things are required for everybody, no matter what you're going to do. But that language and 2 credits of the same language is what they need to do. So that's important to keep in mind. And typically your school counselor is going to ask, are they interested in going to college? And, of course, maybe you don't know. So if that's the case, my suggestion is take the foreign language, because if you don't have it, you're going to have to take it at the college level. And that means you're going to pay for it. And you're also going to have to take it in addition to the other classes that you are taking for your major. So I think, that the best solution is to take it while you're in high school and have it out of the way and not have to worry about it later on. Not to mention, it's just interesting to learn a second language. It exposes you to cultures and other things too, not just the language. And it is important to have a rigorous load. So what that really means is not that you should pile on every AP course or every honors course that you can. What it means is that you should challenge yourself and take classes that show that you didn't take the easy route. Okay, so the colleges can see what the high school has to offer in terms of course selection, and they would want to see that your student has chosen some challenging courses. Now, like I said, that doesn't mean that you have to take every AP class that's available. But they would like you to try something, and they would rather see a B in a more challenging course than all A's in classes that would be considered an easier load. So this is just something to really talk about with your school counselor, but they will wonder if they look at the transcript if the school offered honors classes and AP classes and other more rigorous coursework, why none of those were chosen if there's nothing on the transcript. So it's just, but this is a balance though to think about. Take the honors ones in your strong suits and not, like for me, I was not strong in math. So for me, taking AP calculus would have been a disaster. So I don't recommend, doing stuff like that. So I'll just leave it at that. Okay, so when you do apply for college, they are looking at a variety of things, not just the GPA. That is one of the things they look at. However, many colleges also recalculate that because there's such a variety in school, from school to school to school. You know, a 4 point at this school doesn't equal a 4 point at another school. So they look at a lot of different factors. But they look at the coursework, the level of the coursework, what you took. They do look at ACT, SAT scores, and this is something right now that's kind of in a little bit of a state of turmoil. With COVID, a lot of schools dropped the requirement for those tests, and right now, some schools are returning to that requirement again. North Carolina is sort of in a where they're trying to decide whether to bring them back, and then they're putting in some other language that if you don't have a score, then they're going to require other things. So that's remains to be seen when your students get to that level of being ready to apply, what that is going to look like. The class rank can be considered, recommendation letters, all of these other things on the right-hand side, activities, essays, leadership, community service. They want students who have done more than just excel in the classroom. So they're looking for kids who will bring things to the campus to make the campus a better community. So yeah, they're looking for athletes, they're looking for musicians, they're looking for people that are interested in student government, all kinds of things. So there's just a lot of things. You'll hear the term holistic admission, and that means they're looking at this whole person and trying to evaluate the kind of people. And they will look at social media too to see, you know, if you're student, and this is something to caution them about, you know, if it's filled with hate and just nasty things, that's not good. So, you know, something to take into account is that, you know, who you are plays out on social media a lot of times. And there have been cases of people having scholarship offers revoked because of some things that were on their social media that were not reflective of what they wanted a student to represent. So that doesn't necessarily, you know, always factor into admissions, but it can. So, all right. So when we're talking about paying for college, everybody's always nervous about this, and for good reason, because it's a big investment. And just one of the things to consider is to plan ahead and talk about this as a family so that your student and you as parents know what you're going to do. You know, are you willing to share the cost, or are you expecting the student, are they going to pay for this themselves? So just, you know, get that clarified at the beginning so that everybody's understands how this is going to work. There is financial aid available, and the FAFSA, which stands for the free application for federal student aid, is something that the family, a parent and a student, complete during the senior year. And that opens the door for grants, some scholarships. It does help for work study, and it helps for certain types of loans. So that's the first step that's important in terms of a gateway to a lot of other kinds of aid. So grants are dollars that you don't have to pay back. So if you get a grant, like the Pell Grant is probably the most famous one, and that's federal dollars, and it's based on income, and there's a formula that they use. But that is money that goes directly to the school, and you don't have to pay it back. There are scholarships, which also is money that you don't pay back. Those can be local through lots of clubs like Rotary Club or Civitan or Ruritan. All kinds of local groups have scholarships. There are also ones that are nationally competed for. So those are available, and we'll have lots of information for seniors and juniors about that when they get to that level. Work study is another kind of financial aid that students actually have a job on campus, typically, where they work a certain number of hours each week and get paid. So they actually get that money paid to them. And so it's a little bit of spending money can be, and but they're not guaranteed that job. So it's good when you get that on your financial aid package, but it's not a guarantee that you'll actually get a job and get those hours. So, it's kind of, you've got to make sure you follow through with that if you get that kind of award. And then loans, as we all know, you have to pay back. And there are different kinds of loans. Some are government loans, some are private loans. There's some that the government pays the interest while you are in school, and some that they don't. So lots to know about that. And we'll have plenty more information. Obviously, you want to get the free money. That's that's the choice you want first. And then if you have to do loans, and we have lots of information about that. So we don't want to see anybody taking out $300,000, in loans. And a lot of what you've heard on the news, those disastrous loans were from for-profit schools that had kind of predatory lending practices, and a lot of that's been shut down by the government. So we don't want anybody to end up in that, and that's not the normal case. So other ways to consider making it more affordable would be to start at an in-state school, typically because your tax dollars are already going to support that. That's going to be a cheaper option than going to an out-of-state school, especially if you're talking about a public university or college. You can start at Mitchell. Community colleges are tremendously cheaper than four-year schools, or you could commute. If you live close enough to an institution where you can drive from home and not have to live on board. Most of the time, the room and board is more expensive than the tuition when you see the bills. So as surprising or not surprising as that is not unusual for that to be the case. And then consider early college programs, because that is basically 2 years of free college. So that's a big savings right there too, if your student can get into those programs. So, and we have 3 of those, and they're open to anyone. It doesn't matter which school district you're in, or if you're homeschooled, you are eligible to apply to those. And it's a competitive application, and in the middle of the year. So I think January is now their application date, but we will keep you up to date on those times, and have people from those schools coming to tell you about that as well. So we make it a point to have plenty of information about all of that process for you. So stick with us. That's part of what we do, is make sure you have all of that information.
So this is our final slide. We've got some resources here listed that are great. A variety of, external resources that can help you plan for careers or college or financial aid. So big future here at the top. There are so many resources on there, but they also have a great college search tool to compare different colleges and the costs associated with them, admissions requirements, all sorts of information is on their college search tool. But they've got a ton of other resources too. So we encourage you to check that out. And then Education Planner is also kind of a variety of resources. ACT.org, that is the organization that hosts the ACT, but they've got other resources as well. And then these two here, studentaid.gov and FinAid, financial aid, finaid.org. Those both are kind of focused on the ways to pay for college and information about federal programming and other scholarship opportunities. And then getschooled.com has a lot of great video resources, and that is great for your middle schooler to check out as well, because there's a lot of very approachable information. I think they have a TikTok as well that's pretty good. Just easy little snippets of information about college and careers and just post-secondary success in general. So yeah, encourage you to take a screenshot, check out any or all of these resources. And then also, if you have questions about middle school courses, high school courses, CTE, early college, any of those sorts of questions, I really encourage you to reach out to your child's school counselor. And if you're not sure what that counselor's name is or how to get in contact with them, you can even let us at Crosby know. We can help get you in contact with that person at your child's school. But your child's school counselor is going to be the expert on kind of their school classes and having them on track for post-secondary success. So definitely they're a great resource. And then us here at Crosby Scholars, we are here to support you and answer your questions. So again, my name is Zoe Zharding. I am the middle school program coordinator for Crosby Scholars. And my email address is there on the screen. If you have any questions regarding your middle schooler or their future pathway or Crosby Scholars programming, any sort of anything, you are welcome to reach out to me. I will find the answer for you. And then I also just wanted to shout out that Crosby also has a financial aid coordinator, which you're not there yet. You've still got time before you're probably going to be getting to that. In the fine grain of financial aid questions. But we just want to make sure that people know that we have that resource. And so when your child is starting to get to that level where they are thinking about really how they're going to pay for college, thinking about grants, scholarships, loans, all of that sort of stuff, we have Dominic Jones, our financial aid coordinator. He is very knowledgeable about all that stuff, and will be available to answer your questions when you get to that point in the process. So just wanted to shout that out because I think it's a great resource that people don't really know about Crosby Scholars. But all of us on the Crosby team, our goal is helping your student be successful in their post-secondary, life, whatever that looks like for them. And so we are here to help and to answer any questions that you have. So Suzanne, do you have anything else you want to add as we're wrapping up tonight?
No, just thank you, everybody. I think we've covered it all. So appreciate you listening to this. And like Zoe said, reach out if you have questions. And we hope that you will. And we look forward to getting to know you and your students as they progress through the program. So thank you all, and we'll hope to see you soon.